5 minutes then in Superpole for our second stint as Toprak Razgatlioglu bids to climb from 7th position on the grid as things stand. Has had back-to-back front row starts here in Motorland Aragon. Alvaro Bautista's going to go a little bit out of sync with the others. He's just keeping his powder dry at the moment, still in his pit box.
Yeah, and 4.5 minutes left in the session. So Alvaro, we saw the lap time went away in his second lap. So maybe he's just going to opt for just that one lap at the end of the session.
Later you go out, though, the bigger your risk of catching a yellow flag at the wrong time.
Yeah, the one thing for Alvaro is at least he's got a good lap time in already, and that hasn't been the case all season. It's been Superpole that's been the big bugbear for him, but an all Ducati front row shows that the bike's working well, but it works well in different ways for the riders as well. Alvaro's so strong in that final sector, that last corner, he makes up a lot of lap time. He always has, and it really suits his style. But there's a few riders out here that Aragon seems to suit quite well. Ian One's a podium man in MotoGP, dominated a race in Moto2 as well. And Bautista, we've seen him win races here by a second a lap in Superbike. So it is a place that can see the rider make a bit of a difference.
The Ducatis here of Nicolo Bulega and Danilo Petrucci has latched onto his tail. Petrucci down in 11th position at the moment. Averaged 7th on the grid last season. Made no secret throughout last season that he struggled with qualifying and with the qualifying tyre. And we all felt at that stage there was more to come than those performances. But really big breakthrough from Danilo Petrucci from Most onwards. Hasn't been out of the top 10 in Superpole since then. 2 front row starts in the last 3 rounds. And certainly even that elusive first pole position now looks a little bit more achievable for him. He's got to make some progress here from P11. He should be on the front 2 rows of the grid.
Yeah, and the good thing is he's behind Bulega, so he's going to give himself the chance to be able to tow up alongside the number 11 machine and get yourself onto the front 2 rows of the grid. Bulega's on a really good lap. Middle sector very strong, up by 0.2 of a second on Ian One.
Nicolo Bulega, the man with the consistency in Superpoles this season, the only rider to have made 7 front row starts in 2024.
Just about that second sector as well. Alex Lowe's found 0.2 of a second on Ian One, so clearly that's the sector where Ian One's got to find something himself.
Nicolo Bulega, pole sitter at last week's Italian round, his first in over 200 days since the Australian round, targeting a much shorter wait time of 7 days for another here as he makes his way through the final sector. Our most consistent qualifier, 2 4th places, the worst of his Superpole results to date. Nicolo Bulega exits the final turn and goes P1 into the 1 minute 47s, and it's a new lap record here at Motorland Aragon, a 1 minute 47.840 for provisional pole for Nicolo Bulega. Danilo Petrucci following him out on track sets a new personal best and climbs from 11th to 4th. That's much more like it for the number 9, the Barney Ducati man, 148.314. So half a second down in the end on Nicolo Bulega's time. Alex Lowe's first flying lap of his second stint sees him fail to improve to 148.631 for Alex Lowe's.
Yeah, and that's Lowe's done. You can see a bit of frustration there for him as well. But Toprak not finding anything out there as well. And Razgatlioglu just coming through to finish his lap now, but down by 0.3 of a second coming into the final corners.
Toprak Razgatlioglu, pole sitter for the 2022 Aragon round, and at the moment P8 is all he can manage, hoping to climb through this final sector. He and Michael van der Mark working together out on the circuit. Van der Mark with a new personal best after sector 3, but doesn't look as though he's going to be able to make a huge amount of progress. Razgatlioglu does climb, but it's only good enough for P5. Watch for Sam Lowe's here, you know. Sam Lowe's looking really good after 3 completed sectors on his latest lap, making his way through the final turn. Was up on the second row of the grid last time out with P6 at the Italian round, also on row 2 at the Catalonia, Dutch and UK rounds. And Sam Lowe's on that Ducati that really favours track conditions here in Motorland Aragon. New personal best from him. It's only good enough in the end to climb up to P8. 1 minute to go in Superpole. Bulega leads Iannone and Bautista on an all Ducati front row. Petrucci, Razgatlioglu and Alex Lowe's row 2. Locatelli, Sam Lowe's and Iker on the 3rd row.
Yeah, Lowe's 3 personal bests in the first 3 sectors, lost 1/4 of a second in the final sector just to his own best time, so a little bit of a mistake there maybe in that final couple of corners.
Alvaro Bautista, the 2019 Aragon round pole sitter, but he's half a second down after 3 completed sectors, so it doesn't look as though he's going to be able to improve on this lap. He'll be able to get 1 more lap in with 30 seconds still on the clock, but it's going to be tough to improve on a 3rd lap round in his final stint. Xavi Vierque there at the back of this train, looking to set his new personal best, but the lap's gone away from him in the final sector as well. I think that's just a question of tyre life for these riders now at the end of the 2nd lap of their final stint.
Yeah, we saw that it was a struggle for a lot of riders in their second laps and the opening stint. We'll see what Alvaro is able to do, and if he can find something. He's got 4/10 of a second to find than his teammate Bulega, but even as it is, if he's up there on the front row of the grid, it's a really good effort from Bautista.
Watching Garrett Gerloff here, who qualified as high as 4th position in Manicourt, his best effort in Superpole this season. He's generally been around the fringes of the top 10 or outside of the top 10 altogether, as he was P11 at the Italian round last time out. He's 13th as the checkered flag falls. He climbs to 10th. So a bit of a salvage job by Garrett Gerloff, who's made up a few positions. Checkered flag falls. Nicolo Bulega, Andrea Iannone and Alvaro Bautista is your front row, and that looks like Alex Lowe's. So Lowe's has come down on the very final lap of Superpole there.
Yeah, it's saying it's up at turn 5 there. It looks like it is the left-hander up the top of the hill. And we saw Lowe's frustrated at the start of that lap as well, but a bit of work to be done for the Kawasaki crew to get that bike ready. But second row of the grid, not that bad for Lowe's. That's kind of what we thought would be a good performance by him in the Superpole session. It was always going to be tricky to go up against the Ducatis. 4 Ducatis in the top 4 shows how well the bike's working. Very
unusual for Alex Lowe's, because in terms of flying laps, that session looked like it was done and dusted for him. You wonder whether there might have been a mechanical issue there causing something. We obviously haven't seen it yet, so too early to judge, but very odd in the circumstances.
Yeah, given that he had pretty much ran through the previous lap as well, and turn 5 is the end of the first sector, so maybe he was trying to just get one more fast lap in at the end of the session.
Well, Alex Lowe's nonetheless making the second row of the grid, as he has in 5 previous stagings. Obviously missed the 2023 Aragon round. Front row starter here as far back as 2016 in Motorland Aragon, Alex Lowe's. He's qualified in P6. In the end, the key was to set a fast lap on your first lap of that final stint, which I don't think is a surprise, even though we haven't got the Q tyre with us this weekend.